Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this particular video, we're just going to take a look at and see if we can replicate a virtual machine that I have from my East US location to a different location. Okay, what we're going to use is a recovery service vault for that. So my machine is deallocated and stopped, so let's just start the machine for now. And what we'll do, we'll start with creation of a recovery service vault, and we're going to use the recovery service vault to move this machine to a new location. Now East US, I know we have a paired region, that would be my West US. Okay, so Azure paired regions. Okay, so if I do this, Azure paired regions is the document that would show up. What are paired regions? You can look, you can read up, and what I'm looking for in here is the East US. So East US, if you look at it, in North America, East US, I have a pair region. West US is the pair region. Okay, again, what is it? This Azure region consists of a set of data centers deployed within a latency defined perimeter and connected through a dedicated low latency network. So it ensures that Azure services within Azure region offers the best possible performance and security. Okay, they are still wide apart, but they have a very fast network connection in between them, and they're within the same geography, but they're paired. Okay, so what we are going to do over here, in here we are going to what are we going to recovery services vault. We're just gonna go and create one that we're gonna use for this lab. So just click add. So this experience is exactly the same as any other experience. Resource group, I'm gonna keep it inside this particular resource group. Vault name, I'm gonna say West US recovery service vault. Okay, and I'm gonna choose the West US because that's where I want to move my resource, right? So West US. Okay, and just uses review and create, and it should create that recovery service vault for you, and it shouldn't take very long at all. It should, momentarily you will have this recovery service vault available to you. And yeah, so you can look at the notification bar to see what's going on. It's already done, so you can click either this blue button or this blue button to go to your recovery service vault. So we click, so now I'm within the recovery service vault. So again, we're in the overview blade. Here is some what's new. You have whole bunch of things. This is recovery for VM deployed in availability zones to another region. Protection of Azure VM using storage spaces direct is now available. Like all the new things are going on there over here. So you can either do backup. There are a whole bunch of options available over here, or you can also do a site recovery. Okay, so all of that features are also available. So in this one, let's use the replicate feature to replicate our virtual machine from one region to another. To here, source location is the East US. This region is recovery services vault is the same as the source region. If you are protecting machines across zones and not across regions, you may continue. For cross regional recovery, please select a vault from a different region. So source location is East US. As your virtual machine deployment model is fine. Source resource group is keep it disaster recovery between availability zones. No is okay. Hit OK. So in this one, it says I have only one virtual machine that is available. So take that virtual machine. Okay, and so we have defined the source. We have defined a virtual machine. Target location is West US. Target description, you can customize this if you like. So if you customize this, if you click on it, target subscription, sorry, so if you have a different subscription you can go, but I'm gonna keep it within my same subscription. Over here, if you are choosing general purpose storage account, ensure that operations and data transfer prices are understood clearly. A resource group network storage availability, you can customize that if you like. Now it's going to create a new name and it's just gonna add the new resource group with the -ASR. It will append it or prepend it. Okay, so target virtual network will be keep it VNet ASR. Target resource group would be keep it ASR. Okay, we don't have any availability set, so we're gonna stick to the default options that I have over here, and I'm just gonna say create the target resources. Okay, so it has started now deployment of the target resource group, virtual network, storage account, and manage disk, everything in that particular resource group that it's going to create. Okay, it's now going through this validation process, and it just say don't close this blade. It says resource group keep it was successful. So I'm just still gonna wait for a little bit longer until this validating thing is completely done, especially because it says don't close this blade. Okay, usually for most deployment, once you have started deployment, you can move and do other stuff, but in this particular one it says hey, don't close this one. So we're just gonna stick to this blade for a little bit longer until this validation is completely and the deployment is completely done. Okay, I'm gonna pause the video for a second and be back as soon as the deployment is complete. Alright, it looks like it's all done, and as soon as everything is done, I got a couple more things. Deployment succeeded, create service principal, and I have 3 tick marks now, so everything is now configured. So now I'm just gonna say enable replication. So what it's doing right now, it's enabling replication for the one virtual machine that I have. Okay, so that's going on right now. As soon as it's done, we'll take a look at it and move forward with the next step. Alright, let's see for replication. Our replication is still going on. It's about 4 minutes. I'm just going to give it a little bit longer time. And what I think is going to happen is once the replication is done, those items are going to show up under the replicated items blade. Okay, right now you see there is nothing is showing up. Okay, because this is still the replication process is going on. As soon as this is done, you will have that machine. Okay, and at that point we'll restart the lab. Just give it a little bit more time. Okay everyone, I think the replication is now completed, and if you see, I got the Ubuntu and it says replication health is in a warning state, status is protected, and where is it located? It's located in the East US. So what I want to do real quick and go and make sure this Ubuntu is actually running. If it's not running, we would like to restart it. Yeah, I have a policy that shuts down my machine at like 7 o'clock in the evening. So most likely it got shut down because we were not using that machine. Alright, so for this one, what we did, we really configured our replication, and we have used recovery service vault to do that. So let's just go back to recovery service vault. Do we see that? Recovery service vault, yeah, it's right here. And this is the one that we have created, and the vault itself, we have deployed it in the West US region. And from here we went to the site recovery. And did we want to site recovery? Let's go back to the overview, play it one more time. We went to the replicate. Okay, here is where we have configured everything, and we have enabled replication for that particular virtual machine. So let's now go to site recovery over here, replicate application, and manage recovery plans. So I don't have any managed recovery plans here just yet. So let's replicate application. Let's see, this one is again, it's asking me to replicate anything. We don't want to do that, we have already done that. All I'm trying to do is to manage backup policies, backup infrastructure, site recovery infrastructure, recovery plans, backup reports. Okay, all right, let's let's go back to the virtual machine now, and hopefully it's not we have started that. So this is my Ubuntu, and from here what we want to do, we want to go down to the replication backup. There's so many things here these days, it's a little hard to find at times. Let's think about it. Okay, so we really had to go to the replicated items under the recovery service service vault, and where you needed to go is inside this protected items. Okay, you have a backup item and a replicated items. We haven't done any backup, so you shouldn't see anything over here. Replicated items is where the Ubuntu is gonna show up. So if you see there's a warning, and that warning, you can ignore that, because this warning is only related to the fact that it was turned off. So if you click on the warning, the virtual machine is turned off. That was the reason. Now it's running, so we shouldn't have any trouble with it. Okay, so let's go back. So what do you see? Configure an issue. There is no issue. Agent version is fine. Yes, the agent version, agent status is healthy. We have never performed any failover. So here at the top, if you see, you have a failover option or a test failover option. If you want, you can also disable the replication for this particular virtual machine as well. So if you click on the test failover, okay, it will let you do a test failover. So if you have a critical system, you want to do this test failover to make sure everything is going well. Okay, and it's going to give you a recovery option, and you can use the latest processed or latest app consistent or even custom policy if you like, and then you can choose a recovery point. Okay, anywhere where you have available data, you can go back. And virtual network, there's only one, that's the network where you have to put it. So I'm just gonna use the by default one, and Azure virtual network, and you can click OK here to do a test failover. Okay, I think let's go ahead with this particular test failover. And you see that these two are grayed out, but failover direction is from the East US to the West US. Okay, and just hit OK, and let's see what happens. Alright, so starting the test failover, it shows up over here, and you can kind of watch what is going on. And while this is going on, let's go back to a resource group and see if what is going on with the resource group. Okay, so in terms of resource group, this is the resource group that the recovery services vault has created because we have set up a replication and we enable the replication. Now we are doing a test replication, right? So it looks like, as we said, it's created a new virtual network, keep it VNet, and it's pre-pen with the dash ASR. Same thing with the disk. Everything that's just pre-penned with dash ASR. So just give it a minute. So it's like, you can see that it's a starting virtual machine Ubuntu, and starting the test failover of Ubuntu. So it's the failover process is going on. So let's go ahead, and I'm just gonna take a look at Ubuntu and see if it's running at the moment. Yeah, it is running, so I think I'm fine. So click over here, see what is going on, and okay, so once this test is done, let's come back and continue the video. All right, it looks like the starting the failover of this test Ubuntu. This is still done, but this is something not done. So let's go back to our Azure site recovery or recovery services vault, and over here I want to take a look at that under protected items, replicated items. I just want to see the status of it. Cleanup test failover pending. So it looks like the failover was probably successful, and it says you can run your machine or manage disk after a failover of migration from on-premises to Azure. Set this option to use manage disks in replicated items setting, compute and network. Okay, so here I don't have anything except for clean up the test failover. Okay, so we can click over here. Okay, so let's see what it's telling us. Environment virtual machine. Okay, let's click on it. Okay, so test failover of the virtual machine completed. To delete the virtual machine created during the test failover, use cleanup test failover options on the virtual machine. So everything was successful. Prerequisite check for test failover, create a virtual machine, preparing the virtual machine, and start the virtual machine. All of them was successful. So VM network test virtual machine. Okay, so it's come over here again, and where do I delete this? So click over here, click over here, clean up test failover, and just say testing is complete. We are done testing and we are happy. Okay, and you just say hit OK, and so that what it will do, it will clean up the resources that we created during the test failover. So once we feel good and comfortable, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and we'll do the actual failover. Okay, and then we'll end the lab at that time. Okay, just give it a second for the cleanup test failover environment. Once this is done, we will do the actual deployment. Okay, all right, let's see if our cleanup is done. So come over here and hit refresh on it. So this, you see that message that we said that said that the replication cleanup was not done. It's now done. So I think we are ready to do a failover. So failover, you can directly do it from here, or again you can get into the machine itself on the replicated item, and from here you can also click on failover, and you see here everything it says nice, last successful test failover was done today. Everything looks excellent. So you can now click on the test failover. Again, what it's gonna do, it's gonna shut down the virtual machine that we started in the very beginning, from which we have replicated a copy of it, and it will deploy this machine, the replicated version, to West US location. So the recovery point is unidentified. So let's go back from here. Let's choose pretty much any of it, and let's try OK. Let's see if that helps. Okay, click twice. Didn't nothing happened. The service has unprocessed data for more than an hour. Failover might take long. You can select latest processed image. So latest processed is this. Then click OK to start the replication. Okay, just give it a time. It looks like this one click is not, it's just not taking anything. Okay, so I'm just going to refresh this one more time, and what I'll do once it comes up, we'll go and click on the failover one more time. When it comes up, what it's saying, if you choose something else, it may take some long time. Just go with the latest processed for this lab and we should be fine. We tried that and it didn't do us anything, but I'm just gonna, I already clicked it once. Now it has started. Okay, my friends, so now finally what we have done, we have now began the failover of our Ubuntu to West US location, and as part of the process it's going to try to shut down our machine that is running in the East US. But even if that process fails, the deployment will continue. Okay, I mean if the shutdown, even if it cannot shut down the Ubuntu in the East, it will still go ahead with this deployment. Okay, let's give it a minute and then we will review the resource group that's being created at this time in the West US and in the lab at that time. So just to recap quickly what we have done, we started with the virtual machine. We created a recovery services vault, and from there, okay, we have created the replicated items. Okay, we created in that same region where we wanted to replicate. Then we created the replicate button, and then we configured what we wanted to replicate. So once we have all of that done, we give it some time. It takes a little bit of time to replicate your item, and once a replication is done, that replicated items will show up under the protected items, replicated items blade. And from here, we have done a testing of this particular Ubuntu machine by clicking the test failover, and we have verified the failover was successful. And once we have done everything, we clicked on the failover button and it says the failover was initiated. Once it's done, you will have the new machine available in the West US region. Okay, practice this. So this service you can not only use to failover from your Azure to another region, you can also use this for your machines that are available in your on-prem most likely. So just be familiar what it can do for you. Okay, let's give it some time and we'll come back once this failover process is done, and we'll end the video right there. Alright everyone, it looks like the operation is now successful. I waited a little bit longer, that's why it says it's an hour ago, but it probably took less than that to the failover operation. So let's just refresh this page just one more time and see the status. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Okay, now this is all good. I have no errors. It looks like failover is happened successfully, and it says status failover completed, and that's what we wanted to look at. So this is the replicated item, so we can go. I don't think we need to do anything in here, so just go back, and we know the replicated virtual machine should be part of the new resource group. Keep it -ASR and look at that. So now we have a Ubuntu, we have our network interface, our disk, everything that we need for this virtual machine that is now moved to this system. Now is this running? So you can click on it and let's check if this machine is currently running. So it looks like we have it, but this machine is not running at the moment. So let's just is it oh, it's running, but I do not, the only thing I don't see here is the IP address. So it does not have any IP address associated with it. Everything else looks to be good. So you can do a connect, but I don't have any IP address, any public IP address. So private IP address is already assigned, so I can still get to this machine using a private IP address. If I'm already logged into one of these machines, I should be able to get to this one. Okay, so that's all you need to do at this time. If you want, you can go ahead and add a public IP if you like. So let's go back to this resource group, and let's see if my VM is still available. So this VM Ubuntu is still here, so it didn't delete that particular virtual machine, and this is now stopped because when we have deployed the replicated virtual machine to the new location, our first action was we shut down this machine. Okay, so that's all for this lab. So where we have used a recovery services vault to take this virtual machine and move it from one location and replicate to a new region and make it successful. At this time you can even delete this machine that you don't need, but I'll continue to work with this machine, so I'm not going to do anything. But yeah, practice this some more and be comfortable. I hope that you learned a little bit out of this video. Thanks for watching. Please leave your valuable comments. Thank you.